Good judgment is when you do the right thing, and bad judgment is when you do the wrong thing.
Good judgment's like positive, and bad judgment's like not good.
Just having good judgment means you won't do things that'll get you in trouble, and you won't get yourself hurt, and bad judgment will.
Knowing how to make the right decision or wrong decision.
Good judgment is following what's morally right.
Well, bad judgment can cause problems in your life that you could get in trouble. And good judgment means you're a good person and you know right from wrong.
I think it's the decisions you make. Like if it's bad judgment, if you make it the bad decision, you're gonna have to pay the consequences later. But if it's a good decision, then the outcome should be better.
What do you use to form your opinions and judgments when you're making decisions?
I guess, gut feeling, gut instinct.
I use my mind.
I have to look it up. Like I use the internet a lot to find out information before I really make a big decision about something.
I'll run stuff through my friends before I just act upon it. So I use past life experiences.
I think ahead.
People's advice and just my morals and what I believe in.
Usually my faith.
I think about the situation and all the bad and good things that come out of it.
I just think of what my mother would think and how God would see me.
An Associated Press article in July of 2009 reported that police said bad judgment, not alcohol, was likely to blame for the deaths of 5 young people after their car skirted a railroad gate near Detroit and was struck by a passenger train.
Canton Township Police spokesman Sergeant Mark Gajeski said Friday there was no indication that alcohol or anything else was involved other than bad judgment in the crash about 20 miles west of Detroit.
We all make good and bad decisions throughout our lives, and some of them we can learn from and they make us better.
And others, like the tragic train crash, can cause permanent harm.
So what can we do to try to make good judgments and even influence our friends to make better judgment or decisions in their lives?
Using good judgment, that's what we'll be talking about today. Hi everyone, I'm Kristen.
And I'm Elias.
And this is Real Faith TV. As we get older, we naturally mature, and our decision making and judgment should also improve through what we learn and experience.
As St. Paul writes in Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11, "When I was a child, my speech, feelings, and thinking were all those of a child."
Now that I'm a man, I have no more use for childish ways.
We are no longer children, and yet not quite adults, but it is time to put away our childish behavior and begin to make better judgments and decisions in our lives.
The teens on the street we met at the beginning of the show said that they rely on friends, experience, and their faith, among other things, when they're forming opinions to make decisions.
We'll hear from them a little later on in the show, as well as meet our studio guests.
But first, let's meet our spotlight guest, Manny, who will tell us how he feels about judging others.
And what the difference is between judging others and lovingly correcting them.
I try not to be a judgmental person because I don't want people to judge me. I felt like the hardships of people judging me in my past, and especially when I was little, and I don't want to be that way. There's a lot of stereotypes, a lot of just assumption based on what people look like. I try to take every person as their own person and try to get to know them. If everyone just took out that time and just, when they meet another person, just meet them for that person, and not just based on what they look like and assume you know that person. When you point out someone's mistake, you're not trying to feel like you're better than the other person. You're just trying to help the person. So I would love if I'm making a mistake for someone to point it out to me. Judging is when you take this higher authority about it. People who point out mistakes, they're trying to help you. They love you because they want you to be better. And people judging, that's just people maliciously just pointing out your faults and accusing you of things.
Well, let's meet our studio guests and talk about the difference between judging someone and pointing out their mistakes.
Okay, they are Dan, Jackie, Jimmy, Phil, Nick, Jordan, and Mary.
All right, so I have 2 questions for you guys. First of all, are you judgmental? And what do you think is the difference between judging someone and lovingly correcting them?
I try and think that I'm not a judgmental person. I try and look at someone and not judge them right off the bat, just kind of let them explain themselves, introduce themselves, and maybe find out a little bit more about them. And I also think that if you judge someone, it's kind of a preconceived notion that you just look at them based on what they look like, how they're dressed, what they're wearing, what they say. And lovingly correcting someone means that you actually care about them and you want the best for them and you want them to succeed in what they're doing.
I feel that when I first meet someone, I do tend to judge them, but I think it's just a human nature because it really only takes 4 seconds for you to, when you meet someone and they shake their hand, you like judge them. But when you actually get to know someone, I don't think you stop judging them.
Some of my best friends, like I thought they were like the weirdest people. I was like, you know what? I don't like that girl. And now we're best friends. And like, I was like, I judged you and I judged you all wrong.
I find myself judgmental at times, like, you know, when I meet new people, I say like, oh man, she's like really annoying or she's really fun to be around. Like lovingly correcting means like you're really good and I think you can maybe even be better.
I can tend to be really judgmental too, but I'm like really working at not doing that because a lot of times I'll see someone and form judgments like you were saying in the first 4 seconds. I don't like to do that, but my mind just goes straight to it. So I'm working on not doing that and, I don't know, recognizing that everyone's like a human person and they deserve my respect. The difference between the two is really the intention that lies behind the judgment.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that too.
Absolutely.
To piggyback off what you said, I think the difference is when you're judging someone, you're pointing out their flaws in a negative aspect. But when you're lovingly correcting them, it's honest feedback, whether it's positive or negative. You're telling them and you're trying to help them.
If I meet someone, I kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, like even if they seem annoying, like I know instinctively that God made everyone in his image and likeness, so everyone deserves the same respect as you or me would. So I kind of look at them, I'm like, all right, let's see how this person is. And I don't really judge them, I just kind of go where they are and who they are.
Yeah, like giving people the benefit of the doubt. Like my mom always talks about, like you don't know what they've been through, you know how their day's been going. They could be in a bad mood, so you just have to let them be.
What really is good judgment?
Well, actually, Elias, Webster defines good judgment as the process of forming an opinion or evaluation by discerning and comparing.
An opinion or estimate so formed.
So, do you consider yourself someone who generally makes good judgments?
That's what we asked the teens on the street.
Do you generally use good judgment or make good decisions in your life?
Yeah, I try to.
I'd say I've got a pretty good head on my shoulders, so I'd use good judgment most of the time.
Yeah, I think so. I generally do make good decisions. Most of the time, yeah.
Yes, definitely. For the most part, I think I use good judgment in my life.
I always use good judgment making decisions every time.
I try to make good decisions, but sometimes I will make bad ones, but it usually ends up good in the end.
Usually I use good judgment. Sometimes I use bad judgment and have a little bit more fun.
I do try and I do fail. But I do try to do what I can and to make those judgment calls based on rationale rather than pure emotion.
Share any stories or experiences in your life when you used bad judgment.
Like the time of pride, so I had to play ding dong ditch with my friends all night.
Did something really bad at camp and then got kicked out of it while I was working.
Chose to do otherwise of what my mother told me to do.
Well, I climbed out of a moving car and went on the roof. I wouldn't call that good judgment.
I went to a party one time and I got drunk despite my better judgment.
What did you learn from the times you used bad judgment?
I learned not to do it again.
Not to do it again.
To use better judgment.
Going really fast on top of a car is not a good idea.
I learned that maybe making those decisions won't help me much in my life, so I just choose to do better choices and better things.
I have to think more about my actions and think what if about things, and before I do anything, just think about consequences.